Red-baked mud Medina palaces beneath the snow-capped high Atlas and a powder pink ring of ramparts around 19 kilometers. Marrakech is Morocco's most memorable experience. And this is Today it's the turn of the women, and we're going to begin this final block with the first of the repechage contests. This features Anne Fatoumata Mbairo of France. She's up against Nihel Chekrahou of Tunisia. And with commentary on this and all of this final block, I'm delighted to be sitting alongside former world champion Loretta Cusack-Doyle. It's a very good afternoon to you, Loretta.
Good afternoon, and it's a delight to be back here for this final block and the medal matches that are coming up very shortly. And as you can see just on our screens there, head-to-head, so neither one of these athletes have competed against each other, so it'll be a new experience for both of them, and we'll just see how they perform here for that last opportunity of gaining into a final of the bronze medal.
It's become our habit to give you an honest opinion of how things have gone during the day.
Yes.
And it hasn't been, you know, the most exciting. There have been flashes from a few of the fighters of almost brilliance, some of the techniques, and then there have been a few that have been flat. Let's hope that Mbairo and Chekrahou come up with something a bit special.
Well, Bairo has come out flying starts now. As you can see, that right arm over the top, controlling very nicely there. And Chekrahou just losing her balance and falling backwards there. Wasn't strong enough of attack with the Kosota from the French girl to get a score, but nevertheless, it's a great start for this young lady.
Dicko has been impressive. She's in the next repechage contest. Savel Coles from the Netherlands has been impressive. She's in the semi-final against Larissa Charrett, but really the standout athlete has been Asahina Sara of Japan. We'll see her in the first of the semi-finals. So there have been some bright parts to the day, and we're very much hoping that we're going to get a few sparks flying.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
2 penalties picked up. No, just the one. They were just moving a second penalty onto that scoreboard. I was wondering what was going on there.
And Chekrahou there stands on with the drop. Sienagi. Oh, that was a lovely.
Where did that come from?
Very sharp indeed, as she comes right under the centre of balance of her opponent. Just caught her cold there. She rides over the top, but lovely attack there.
Didn't see anything of that earlier on today from Chekrahou.
Oh, nicely executed there.
Really kept hold of this sleeve for as long as possible as she threw her almost away from herself.
Mbairo there defending and trying to get that counter, draws her opponent back. Lands first though, so it doesn't class as a score for Mbairo.
She threw on the left side with the drop Serenagi, and then was looking to throw on the right side. That time almost got taken back.
Well, 2.5 minutes remaining in the contest.
I've seen more from her in a minute and a half than I have in the 8 minutes that she was on
exactly
on the mat earlier on. It can be so confusing sometimes, almost annoying watching some of the fighters.
Sometimes it can be just that clash of styles that two athletes coming out at a stage that if you make a mistake it can cost you the tournament, so neither one of them wants to sacrifice that little bit just to go that little bit extra and to put themselves on the line, so they tend to be stalemate and just seeing what the referee comes up with. But now it's all at stake for a place in the bronze medal final for both these athletes.
Yes, as Loretta has just hinted there, a win here will put the winner into a bronze medal fight. So everything to fight for here.
Well, Mbairo, as you can see, towers over her opponent as she throws that right hand, goes over the back. And we've seen this technique in a previous match, which was very effective, where for right through the whole match, persevered at trying to attack her opponent forward all the time, the heavyweights. And then in the golden score, just switched tactics and threw her opponent for a Wazari to win the match. So the feet are working quite nicely for her, and she's now doing the opposite. She's tending to now persevere more with the Kosotas, and what she was doing earlier on was the forward attack. So maybe needs to just mix it up a little bit and not being so predictable out there.
There's another occasion where Chegrahu's taking her time to do a belt. What happened the last time that we got in this situation?
Oh yes, yeah, she just went out. Yeah.
I wonder if it's going to be a repeat here. And Fatoumata Mbairo may have had enough time just to get some instructions from Labi Ben Badoud and come up with something a little bit special here. There's a Wazari on the board for each of the fighters.
Well, there's a Wazari apiece now, and Mbairo obviously tries to use the advantage of being that slightly bit taller than her opponent, but definitely has the disadvantage of the weight. Needs to really, as she got that arm over the top, needs to bend that arm and brace into her opponent, just piling a little bit more pressure on that shoulder.
The transitions from standing to groundwork have been very poor from the heavyweight women today. Haven't seen anybody who's really managed to put together the two phases and come out looking dangerous.
On a drop, Sianagi once more. We've seen that earlier on in the opening minutes of this contest.
Second time she's come up with a good strong attack. First time she came up with a score.
This time she very much stumbled her opponent. Mbairo once more fell asleep a little bit there, and but didn't cost her a throw or a score at that time. So just in the last minute now of this contest, Mbairo throwing the arm over the top again, taking control, but Chegrahu coming in with a rear attack, the Ouchigari.
And Mbairo had to turn onto her front. She looked to block that up first, but we realised it was quite a strong effort. It was taking her backwards, and she then turned onto her front.
Well, the decision to take the Shido that was awarded to Mbairo is off. Oh,
fell off
and
the other
that's a
side.
Wazari. Fell over the other sides and picks up, with half a minute remaining, another Wazari, which puts her in a comfortable lead and closer to that bronze medal match. She's trying to secure the hold, but hasn't got enough rotation there.
Did you just call it now?
Now it has.
Yeah.
Well, it seems to be secured and very unorthodox.
Yeah. See, she's got that shoulder trapped on that side.
And she's got the head, but she's using her own head to lever her partner's weight down onto that shoulder quite firmly.
Well, you know, Mbairo is going to look at that and think, is that Osaikomi? Well, it always is when you can't move.
Yes. It was a pin and she couldn't move.
You know, for me, that is a signal, whether I like the shape and the look of that Osaikomi or not. At the end of the day, if you ask the question, okay, if it's not Osaikomi, get up.
Well, the idea of an Osaikomi is you control the head and you pin the shoulders to the ground. Well, we're not saying shoulders, but one shoulder and a head was controlled to the point that her opponent wasn't moving anywhere.
Yeah, Loretta and I think we were talking about this yesterday. We like to see the Osaikomi begin with the traditional two shoulders and back pinned, and after that you can go where you like as long as you remain immobilized. Well, she was immobilized there, but only with the head and one shoulder. But after a while, the referee decided, well, you can't get out of this.
Yes,
you're not moving from this, so I'm going to call Osakami. If in the event of me having called Osakami, you decide to roll and you get out, great. But if you can't, then you're going to justify my call. She called Osakami, and for 20 seconds, Mbiro remained pinned. So
well, there you have the highlights as she fell over the back there, went the opposite side, but she had that arm firmly wrapped around her.
Done.
Controlled, used her head to control the head movement, which immobilized her opponent quite comfortably down there.
Well, the French have got another chance of getting into a medal match. This time it'll be Romain Dicot who carries the French hopes, because the upcoming contest is Elianis Aguilar of Cuba. She faces Romain Dicot of France. It'll be Aguilar in the white judogi, Dicot in blue.
And here we have both athletes head to head here. Neither one of them fought each other, aged 20 to 18, still both very young, and wins 3-21. So Dicot's got a few more wins under her belt, and 20 by Ippon, so she's a big thrower. So we've just got to see how it pans out in this match coming up now.
Vasily Smolin Jr. is the referee in the middle. From Russia. We'll see him when we're at the Masters in St. Petersburg at the end of the year. That's in a few weeks' time.
And there we have Dicot just coming onto the mat against her opponent, Aguilar of Cuba, in the white.
Well, if Mbiro is a pretender, then Dicot has got to be the front runner as far as the French are concerned in the heavyweight division. She's going to be their go-to fighter.
Well, for both Cuba and France, there's two young athletes coming up in front of us here, 18 and 20 years of age. Great potential for the future of both these countries. Strong athletes. And we've gained a lot of experience in this competition today. Dicot coming in with the Uchi-Uchimata combination there. I'm coming over the top. Didn't have that extra power that she needed to generate through that throw. The arm was left over the top, but shoulder started to turn. The drop there once more, but not effective at all, or even close to a score. As you can see, Dicot has got a very strong sleeve grip, but allows it to drop across her, putting her off balance a little bit. Until now, quite an evenly fought match. The Ochigari was there. Oh, and she didn't sense it to persevere with the rear attack.
Almost followed up with the Haragoshi, and she was
too quick to react with the combination. The Ochigari was there, and she just stumbled her, but then decided to switch.
Well, she managed to plant Yasmin Kulbs earlier on today with that Haragoshi.
Oh yes,
maybe that was
maybe
in
one
her
of the
mind,
best throws of the day, to be honest. Oh, Dicot there, as you can see, trying desperately to get that arm over the top. She's getting caught up with the sleeve and looking a little bit agitated out there with it. But Aguilar As you can see with that left hand blocking, but comes round the back. The Ouchi combination is there, and as you can see, Aguilera trying to take her off the counter. Uranagi, but just wasn't there. Didn't get under the centre of gravity there. Didn't just get under those hips.
Aguilar playing a dangerous game. We've seen others today run the risk of trying to block that Harai-goshi.
And it's very powerful indeed when she gets connected, so she has to be careful.
You know, you might block it once or twice, maybe even 3 times, but sooner or later you're going to be on the end of it.
Drops in Aggie once more there.
Yeah, once that arm went up to the collar.
She was feeling a little bit under pressure there, and then you could tell, but
just threw that in.
Just dropped under a bit of a panic. Diko again plagued with that sleeve grip as she tries to throw that arm over the top. Aguilar trying to control that right sleeve as much as she can. She knows the danger is that big Harai-goshi that we've seen earlier on. Very powerful indeed as she steps right across for the Makikomi. Once more a repeat of previous attacks that she's put in and falling to her face. Doesn't get that rotation. And Diko prepared for it every time. Once more the right hand now, you're hooking in the big Harai, the leg comes across. Didn't have the right grip this time, but we're in now to the golden score. Diko once more coming round the back this time, but there you've got the combination and a counter. That was a little bit of a rocky moment. Couldn't work out which way that was going to fall. Both were in a good position to either counter or score with a direct attack with the Ouchigari from Diko, but neither one of them were gutsy enough to just go for it. Aguilar, body language is starting to look a little bit tired out there. The hands starting to drop that a little bit lower. She looks a little bit more defensive than attacking. And as you can see, Diko trying to come in. But there's the Ouchigari. She stayed on top, and she did extremely well. More or less fed her that attack.
Yeah, that was the important thing there for Diko, to realise where things were going, stay on top, make sure she got the landing right, and there was some control there. Yeah, well, we may yet see some dancing from Diko. It won't be now, because she's still got one more contest to go before she can claim a medal. If she does, it will be a bronze medal at the World Open.
And at 18 years of age, there's some going.
Yeah.
And we have the highlights of that very throw coming up now. Oh, she had a very strong grip. She showed her that forward attack, but she lingering around with the Ouchigari was there. And her opponent just fell into the trap. Aguilar just couldn't resist the attempt of countering her. There was a Kosota there, just dropped. Don't you just love the coach's reactions?
Right, so it'll be Roman Dicko in the second of the bronze medal matches. Coming up now, the first of the semi-finals. This features Asahina Sara of Japan. She's up against Idalis Ortiz of Cuba. It's Asahina in the white judogi, Ortiz in blue. Loretta.
Well, looking down on the
statistics
there's a lot of experience with Ortiz, as we know. Olympic champion, Olympic silver medalist, two world titles along with a bronze medal, and she's had quite a lot of matches under that belt, but Asahina has had the better performance here today, and for me, world ranked number one on paper. I don't think that goes out the window based on today's performance, I think, and should get into that final.
Bit of a hand slap for the coach, Asami Haruna, herself a multi-world champion, World Championship gold medal winner.
A nice little touch there from Asini. She placed her hand on a flag. Asahina seems to be getting drawn in to Otis' grip as she comes round the back as if she's given her a massive cuddle there. Asahina using the ashiwazas as she's bracing herself against on the edge of the contest area. A little bit of a yell there, just a release of a bit of energy and possibly a bit of frustration there.
Yeah, she's used the ashiwaza well today. It's come out in each of her contests.
Yeah, the Sasai Hizugurumas, they've all been very effective for her. That lovely strong right hand lapel grip that she has there, which she controls very nicely as she uses the ashiwazas. Ortiz looking quite strong out there. Maybe not one of her best days as far as performances are concerned, but as you can see now, both athletes picking up a Shido apiece.
Well, I could see Ortiz picking up a penalty for passivity, but I would have left Asahina alone.
Yes, I think she was, but
we'd already spoken about the ashiwaza. Okay, whether that was, you know, a determined effort or not, but Ortiz picks up a second penalty
for that drop.
For the drop, with 2.5 minutes left to go. We're not going to see the end of this one.
No, I don't think so.
Time-wise, anyway.
Steps across. Looked to be an Uchimata, but I think she was reaching more across for the Harai. Just those little legs just didn't get across far enough. Asahina really in a better position at the moment with 2.5 minutes, just under 2.5 minutes remaining in the contest. 2 Shidos for Ortiz, who now really has to start stepping up and taking a little bit more control of this contest if she wants to stay in with a chance of a place in the final. Asahina trying to get a reaction from Ortiz. It's not really working at this moment. Ortiz stays very firm in her grips and controlled. Once more, a lack of engagement there from Ortiz, and she really needs to now put 1 or 2 attacks in. Otherwise, she could be seeing herself picking up the third and final Shido. Ortiz coming round the back this time once more. We saw earlier on, just draws her opponent in. Getting very close indeed. Trying to work those hips. Stepping across, but there's the Ashiwaza. Breaking the balance of Ortiz, drawing her down to her knees, making her look very passive indeed.
Well, Ortiz was very close to committing a third error there. Almost put the hand in contact with the leg in a blocking motion, which would have meant a third penalty.
Well, just under a minute remaining. 2 Shidos to 1. That's all we have here at this moment. Once more, you can see that arm going round the back. Ortiz does an attempt a Sutemi Waza. Didn't really have the core strength or control to be able to rotate her opponent over, and lands on her back now, finding herself in a bit of a predicament here as that leg is starting to draw out.
Yeah, Tati
and Tati
Shiogatami,
Shiogatami's there, and I think the
she's
tapping.
tapped out.
So Ortiz will go into the repechage final, a last chance for a medal in the bronze medal final. But Asahina will go into the final, where it guarantees her a medal.
You can see the highlights on the big screen.
And there's the highlights of that very fight.
Yeah, there was a complete relaxation of the body of Ortiz immediately that Asahina secured the Tati Shiogatami. There was zero thought of trying to get out of it. She just tapped out immediately.
Well, for Ortiz, it wasn't one of her finest hours, was it really? And didn't display the judo that I think we're all expecting at that sort of level of an Olympic champion, Olympic medalist.
Pity, really. Anyway, we come now to the second of the semi-finals. Larissa Čerik of Bosnia-Herzegovina faces Tessie Savelkals of the Netherlands. It's Čerik in the white judo gi, Savelkals in blue.
And in blue for the Netherlands, Tessie Savelkals.
Just trying to listen to Dennis van der Geest, the stadium announcer. He's from the Netherlands, so we want to make sure we get Tessie's name right. I had a coffee with her during the interval.
She's looking very confident out there as she approaches the match. She's been, for me, there's been a real solid performance from this young lady, and Čerik has been in one or two. She's battled away. It's not one of the best performances I've seen throughout. Possibly the clash of styles, and she's one of the lighter weights athletes in the weight category. And one of the smaller ones as well, so obviously that's always a bit of a disadvantage. She has that Makikomi that we've seen a few times throughout the day. Doesn't just seem to get enough arm across. It always seems to be attacking the elbow and below, and really needs to get a little bit higher and bringing that arm across the body a lot tighter.
Yeah, Čerik, Savelkals, Dicko and Asahina. Oh, yeah, no, not quite. Onto her front. They've been the best of the heavyweights today. Asahina.
Well, they've moved a lot better, haven't they? They've created a few more opportunities for themselves, and they've been very close, if not thrown a lot more within this contest and competition. Savalkol, as you can see, with that right hand collar grip, as she Ceric just totally dismisses it. Doesn't look to be threatened at all by the right hand being on the lapel. Seems to be able to work well from that particular grip that Tessie has been very successful throughout the day with. Lovely drop Cianagi, come right underneath, broke the balance, but Ceric really waiting for her, tried to capitalise on it, and the Niwaza drew back, but just lost that Osakomi opportunity.
Savalkol was just wily enough to turn onto her front. Almost got caught there. 2 minutes left to go.
Well, Savalkol's, this is the first time we've seen that young lady's head being drawn down like that. Ceric really putting the pressure on, drew her opponent down to her knees. Savalkol's just reacted very poorly there, under a bit of pressure. And that's the first time we've seen that pressure from this young lady from the Netherlands today. Ceric comes in with the Uchimata. Now finds her own head down a little bit lower than her opponent's. Just over a minute remaining in the contest. Savalkol with one Judo on the board. Seems to be plagued a little bit with that elbow. She picked that up in the previous match. Against Dicko in the quarterfinals, and it just seems to be plaguing her a little bit. Drops Cianagi once more. Didn't get in deep enough, and anticipated very well from Ceric. Well, for Larissa Ceric, this is most probably one of the best matches that she's had today. Tactically very sound, and looking very strong out there and in control. A lot more of this contest. Hasn't put in as many of attacks, and we'll pick up the second Judo, and there we have it. So, well, the first Judo. So this evens it all up now. But as you can see, she's drawing down on Savalkol's head, making her look very passive, and there once more under a lot of pressure. Tessie just drops to her knees. Picks up the second Judo. And for exactly the same thing, having that head caught up and under pressure. And once more, Larissa doing exactly the same, drawing on that head. Doesn't get it down as deep enough. The drop Cianagi's in there. Well, things have turned around in this competition.
I don't think we're going to go into golden score. I think they're going to give a third penalty here for that last attack and call it a false attack.
Yes, and you're right there. The third and final one. And Larissa Ceric turns a day all around. For someone that looked pretty flat and disengaged in this competition, comes out and tactically and physically controls this contest and takes her in to the final.
Still got enough energy to pick her coach up. Nell Sneyman, Aguilar, now Savalkol's. 3 fighters downed by Larissa Ceric. It'll be Ceric in the final against Asahina Sara. We'll be back with you in about 15 minutes with the 3 medal matches. Nihal Chekrahou of Tunisia faces Tessie Savocals of the Netherlands, and there'll be Roman Dicko of France to face Idalis Ortiz of Cuba. The final is Asahina Sara of Japan and Larissa Cherik of Bosnia-Herzegovina. But from Loretta Cusack-Doyle and myself, it's bye-bye for now. 15 minutes, we'll be back.
I'm so damn grateful. I grew up really wanna go fronts, but that's what you get when Wu-Tang raised you. Y'all can't stop me. Go hard like I got an 808 in my heartbeat. And I'm eating at the beat like it gave a little speed to a great white shark on shark. We raw. Time to go up, gone. Deuces goodbye. I got a world to see. And my girl, she wanna see Rome. Caesar make you a believer. Nah, I never ever did it for a throne. That validation comes from giving it back to the people. Now sing this song and it goes like, raise those hands. This is our party. We came here to live life like nobody was watching. I got my city right behind me. If I fall, they got me. Learn from that failure, gain humility, and then we keep marching.
And we go back. This is the moment. Tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over. So we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. Like the ceiling can't hold us. Go back. This is the moment. Tonight is the night. We'll fight till it's over. So we put our hands up like the ceiling can't hold us. Like the ceiling can't hold us.
What do you mean? Oh, when you nod your head yes, but you wanna say no. What do you mean? Hey, yeah, when you don't want me to move, but you tell me to go. What do you mean? Oh, what do you mean? Said you're running out of time. What do you mean? Oh, what do you mean? Better make up your mind, what do you mean? You're so indecisive, what I'm saying. Trying to catch the beat, make up your heart. Don't know if you're happy or complaining. Don't want for us to win, where do I start? First you wanna go to the left, then you wanna turn right. Wanna argue all day, make love all night. First you're up, then you're down, and in between. Oh, I really wanna know, what do you mean? Oh, when you nod your head yes, but you wanna say no. What do you mean? Hey, yeah, when you don't want me to move, but you tell me to go. What do you mean? Oh, what do you mean? Said you're running out of time. What do you mean? Oh, what do you mean? Better make up your mind. What do you mean? You're overprotective when I'm leaving. Trying to compromise, but I can't win. You wanna make a point, but you keep preaching. You had me from the start, won't let this end. First you wanna go to the left, then you wanna turn right. Wanna argue all day, make love all night. First you're up, then you're down, and in between. Oh, I really wanna know, what do you mean? Oh, when you nod your head yes, but you wanna say no. What do you mean? Hey, yeah, when you don't want me to move, but you tell me to go. What do you mean? I wanna know. Says you're running out of time, what do you mean? Oh, what do you mean? Better make up your mind, what do you mean? When you nod your head yes, but you wanna say no, what do you mean? When you don't want me to move, but you tell me to go, what do you mean? Oh, what do you mean? Says you're running out of time, what do you mean? Oh, what do you mean? Better make up your mind, what do you mean? It was great at the very start. Hands on each other, couldn't stand to be far apart. Closer the better. Now we're picking fights and slamming doors, magnifying all our flaws, and I wonder why, wonder what for, why we keep coming back for more. Is it just our bodies? Are we both losing our minds? Is the only reason you're holding me tonight? 'Cause we're scared to be lonely. Do we need somebody?
Vasily Smolin Jr. has made his way out into the middle. He's in control of this first bronze medal contest. And we're about to see Nihal Chikrahu of Tunisia. She's up against Tessie Savelkools of the Netherlands. It'll be Chikrahu in the white judogi, Savelkools in blue. And here is Loretta Cusack-Doyle.
Well, here we have the statistics for both these athletes. World ranking. Well, there's very little between these athletes, even down to the amount of matches won by Ippon. So it's going to be a very close match. Based on performance today, Savelkools was, well, a little bit disappointing in that semi-final, but I'm quite sure she'll be wanting to better herself here for this bronze medal fight and a chance to get onto that podium. But it's been ups and downs. It's been a roller coaster of emotions for both these athletes and performances. And really, we just couldn't work which way this is going to go at this moment until both of them take a grip.
We've seen flashes from both of them. We saw Chikrahu with two really nice low Ippon Seoinagis that came from nowhere, really.
Yes.
And the Makikomi that wasn't that bad. Savelkools has been a little bit more.
She's been a lot more consistent throughout, but that semi-final has just stunned me. Based on the previous matches she had in build-up to that semi-final, I was surprised. I was surprised to see her react the way she did and how controlled she was within that contest. It was a little bit out of sync of what she'd been doing throughout the day, and a little bit disappointed.
I'd have put money on Savelkools.
Well, I predicted her to be into the final at this moment in time, but so a little bit stunned by that.
Well, we're going to have a short break whilst Nihal Chikrahu has her finger attended to. I'm not quite sure what it is. Maybe a nail got caught and needs to be clipped off, or hopefully it's not where, the finger has popped out and then that needs to be popped back in. That can happen.
Oh, she's back now.
Yeah, should have passed out if it had been the latter.
Well, she seems fine there. Just going to correct her
fingernail
gi.
then, yeah.
Just a fingernail.
Yeah, right.
Maybe
Nothing
chip.
serious. Yeah.
Not always easy for the athlete that's remaining on the mat. You have to try and compose yourself and stay focused, and she seemed to be doing a good job at that. But it'll give her an opportunity to figure out what she's going to do next against a slightly more advantaged, heavier weight opponent.
Ooh,
She's
nice.
got the rear attack there with the Ouchigari. Just didn't get her heel hooked in enough, and it was a little bit high for the Ouchigari. It was almost above the knee.
Yeah, Loretta's been talking about that change of direction, and rather than looking to throw forward, a lot of the heavyweights may be better off with throws to the rear. They haven't heeded Loretta's advice yet.
A bit a couple of times there, but they're just not listening to me. That's the problem. I'm feeling neglected here. Savelkools, we know, has got great forward attacks, but she uses her feet very well.
I thought Chikrahu was going to.
She's done that a couple of times. That she tends to, the hand loiters around that area, and you just think, when is she going to make that mistake? She's made the mistake a couple of times before and has paid the penalties for it. Savelkools there has got a good grip. She again opts for the Ouchigari, but a little bit too high. She nearly needs to brace the weight down onto that leg that she's trying to hook. Or even go for the Kouchigari or the Kosota, trying to break up the balance, get a reaction out of her opponent, who Comes in for a drop Cianagi.
Yeah, keep going.
Keeps
You've got
piling
your,
that pressure on, and that's needs to just keep piling more and more. Tunisian starting to look a little bit defensive out there and backing out. Hasn't put in any attacks in. That was a flurry of attacks there within that 30 seconds, and Tunisian picks up the first Shido. Drops Cianagi, falls over to the side, but constantly having to put on the attacks is the best tactics here, keeping very busy.
It's written all over her face. I don't want to know.
No, that's it. And it looks like obviously the tactics is for
Slow it down.
Savokals just to keep that pressure on and keep attacking, making her opponent look passive.
See, Savokals was just in the process of building up the pressure, you know, wearing her opponent down.
And now we've got the trousers, we've got
yeah,
the belt, we've got
the
the jacket and the hair.
yeah.
It's all slowing that down, so it gives her an opportunity to compose herself. Lovely drop Cianagi once more again. She's got to keep piling her. To be honest, I wouldn't even venture down there. I would just keep it all up in the Tachiwaza. And once again, the frustration there, even the coach is saying, the belt's off once more. The breathing space is there available for the Tunisian.
Which negates all of the work that Savokals has done to build up that pressure. Because it's one thing after another. I mean, the trousers looked as though they hadn't been prepared to arrive at the contest, because it was only whatever length of time it was, and then they were, they were down.
The
anyway,
referee asking her to tie it up a little bit tighter. Chekruhu looking under a lot of pressure. There's the drop Cianagi once more. Still no attack from the Tunisian, and needs to really get that wind up. And the second Shido. Savokals again once more taking the fight to her, using her feet nicely, got a good strong grip, and once more Chekruhu really looking under extreme pressure. There was an attack there, but it was in a desperate attempt to try and stay involved in this contest. I'm quite surprised we're still only on one Shido at this particular moment, with just under a minute remaining. Savokals still piles the pressure. She's got the high collar grip. She's got to be careful of the arm going round the back. Working the feet. Tactically has played a good match so far.
Can't slow down here and give Chekruhu an opportunity to attack.
Well, there's a defensive move there. The drop Cianagi, second one in, and rightly so. Yeah. Rightly so. There has been very little attempt of engaging in this contest. To have a Makakomi and once more falling on her face. No grip at all.
Basinski will be giving all the right information here.
And
finish off, he's saying.
She's looking very tired out there, and Savokals really piling the pressure on, and there's another desperate attempt for the drop CO.
$13-6 to bring this home now.
Again, Savokals really piling. She advances onto her. That just tells you everything. She's constantly on her case. She's really putting on the pressure. Oh, yeah, well, do you know what? That's got to be the end of that.
Yeah. There they can save themselves any trouble by simply calling that a false attack.
Yes.
And that'll be the end of it.
You couldn't get any more than a false attack. We've seen a couple of false attacks already. And... Well, I don't even think that this should really go to golden score. I think we've seen enough that Chekrohu really hasn't engaged in this contest for about 2 minutes. The attempts of attacks that she's actually put in are non-existent, and
they are going to give her another
well,
roll
they're
of the
going to
dice.
another roll.
Well, that's 20 odd seconds if she doesn't commit an error. 40 seconds if she's passive during that time. Can you believe it?
You're having a laugh. I don't believe that.
Well, they'll look at the video because they'll always look at this, right? Which they are. But what should happen here is that the decision should be made on the landing.
Yeah.
Was there a counter? Does she come down on her side? For you?
Did.
She did. For me, she did. Who should win this one? Tessie Saville calls. But she commits an error here. She's weak in her attack. Chekrohu comes up with the score. Chekrohu should win this contest based on the fact that she came down on the side, and it's a score.
It's a score. It's a score.
Yep, it is. I'm going to be perfectly honest here and say I fancied Tessie Saville to win that contest.
So did I.
It's not about who we want to win. It's what's right or not. And Chekrohu made that counter. She fought like a drain, to be honest, during that whole contest. But she came up in the end with the win, and anything else would have been robbery against Nihil Chekrohu. She came up with one single.
But to be honest, it shouldn't have even gone to golden
that far
score.
from
Shouldn't
the false
have gone
attack.
to golden score, in my opinion. It was, again, a situation we've seen over and over again where an athlete has done all the work, just tires herself out and just makes that extra one too many and pays the penalty for it.
And there were several instances in there where Chekrohu had what I would call questionable tactics with regard to the hair, the belt, the trousers, the jacket. It slowed things down, and all of the work that Tessie Saville was doing was undone by the fact that she couldn't finish off. She couldn't get to her opponent because her opponent employed some gamesmanship. In the end, however, the weak attack from Tessie put paid to her bronze medal hopes.
Well, you can't take it away from her. She's a bronze medalist here today, and congratulations to her.
We move on. We come now to the second of the bronze medal matches. Romain Dicot of France faces Idalis Ortiz of Cuba. It's Dicot in the white judogi, Ortiz in blue. The referee in the middle for this one is the shifty-looking Vladimir Nutsubidze. And I'm sitting alongside. Look, he keeps moving his eyes. Look, he's done it.
The dodgy little geezer.
We've got to tell him to stop that. He just looks so shifty, doesn't he? And I'm sitting alongside Loretta Cusack-Doyle. Here's Loretta.
And here we have Dicot, 18 years of age, one of the youngest. She's got to be the youngest competitor here today in this tournament, and she's up against the more experienced Ortiz, Olympic champion back in 2012, Olympic silver medalist in Rio in 2016, and quite an impressive track record this Cuban has with 2 world titles under a belt as well as a bronze medal. But we have Dicot from France, who's one of these up-and-coming young athletes that's going junior European champion, that's had an outstanding performance and a lot of experience being gained over this day. Well, Ortiz, as you can see, working her magic down into the Niwaza. And what we have seen Dicot is she's been very gutsy out there in her performance, but has been very vulnerable and inexperienced, and a youth has shown with leaving herself wide open, and there is another fine example of that into the Niwaza, left herself very vulnerable. The head came up, and Ortiz just capitalised on it, and she'll be delighted with that, because to have to go around for the next 4 minutes with someone so young, youthful, and full of energy, Ortiz wouldn't have liked that. So congratulations to Ortiz of Cuba, who takes that bronze medal back home. Well, very short and sweet, and the experience Ortiz sort of paid off. But what we were talking about earlier on, Sheldon, about the inexperience, lack of obviously exposure to this level of competition, once more made that silly junior mistake of going into Niwaza and leaving herself wide open.
Yeah, she's done that a couple of times,
She
hasn't
has.
she? You know, and
She
it
has.
was either caught or nearly caught, but oh well, Ortiz does it quickly. I don't know how many of these World Judo Tour badges I've been given, but obviously they forget when they give you a World Judo Tour badge, and I just accept it happily and smile and say thank you so much, and I add it to my growing collection.
I think he's actually given out a big message saying put it on.
This one's okay. I've got the IGF one to wear. Right, we come to the final, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Asahina Sara of Japan faces Larissa Cherik of Bosnia-Herzegovina. It's Asahina in the white judogi, Cherik in blue. They've gone head to head twice. This pair. And 2-0. Asahina leads the series so far. Here's
They
a
always
third.
say a third time, and you end up getting to take them home.
Yeah, third time lucky, is it?
Yes,
Maybe
get a cuddly toy with it.
Cherik will get third time lucky. Sławomir Kownacki of Poland is the referee in the middle for this one, and I think the Poles would be happy to have some representation here.
Well, performance-wise, Asahina she's been very consistent, and she's showed all the calibre of athlete that she truly is, and has made it. She's made a great performance up to now, an effortless performance. Really hasn't been challenged much at all in this whole event. Cherik, on the different hand, was a little bit flat-footed to start with. It took a long time to warm up, but when she actually got to that semi-final, well, against Savalkov, she played it just right. And full credit to this young lady that at the beginning didn't look like she could get anywhere close to being on the podium. So she's now guaranteed a medal.
And some cash.
Definitely, and some cash. But can she
Wedge.
upset the odds here in this final? That's a big question.
Yeah, it's quite often the case that when you start looking at a contest, wondering how the person that you think is going to win, you come unstuck.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're not thinking of whether Asahina is going to win, it's how she's going to do it. That's in my mind, and that's a dangerous position to be in. It could all, come undone. Not quite sure what it is that they're worried about. He's signalling 10. What's Sławomir signalling 10 for? The only person that has 10 is Teddy Riner. 10 titles. Why does Sławomir fancy himself as a 10? I've got no idea what it is. Yeah, Teddy's got 10. We know
10
that.
seconds.
That was yesterday, Sławomir. What's happening today?
I don't think the clock.
3:10.
It was 3:10.
3:10. He wanted
yeah.
the clock to go to 3:10. We eventually caught up with him. His thought processes were working
It was
quicker
like
than
playing a
mine.
game of charades just
Yeah,
out
yeah,
there, wasn't it? That
guess.
time. Yeah, guess what I'm trying to
He could
say.
have, done something. Anyway, we're
We're
underway.
moving on now, and we're into the last 3 minutes of this contest.
The clock had stopped at 3:40, and he wanted it to go to 3:10. He's called Mate here. He's going to dish out a
Judo
penalty
to
to
both
each of them.
Yeah.
Asahina and Cherik now with a little yellow card next to their name, signalling that they've picked up a Shido apiece.
And Cherik, there she... Oh, what a pull there. Totally rocked the balance of Cherik.
Explosive, isn't she?
Oh, Shido was so powerful. That was unbelievable. Nearly took her head off. What a whiplash.
Yeah.
She actually showed one way, lured her into the opposite side, and then just yanked on that lapel and totally whiplashed Cherik.
Cherik's in the process of dealing with the attack that goes on the left, and it's not going in that direction, it's going to the right.
Opposite side.
And by the time she realises that, her head's being whacked over and she's on her way down.
Well, that puts her in the lead with the Wazari.
That's the second time she's tried that little makikomi. It works for others. It's not working.
It's not
here.
working for Asahina.
Yeah.
Definitely not. She's not phased by that at all, and it makes her look very passive. She's picked up her second Shido. She's still got 1 minute and 38 seconds remaining. It's a long way to still hanging on when you've got 2 Shidos there on the board.
In fact, that effort was so poor that's why she picked up that second.
Unnecessary.
Shido. Yeah,
it was
Didn't
unnecessary.
need it, Gone again. Beautiful footwork. Everyone's gone over to that work.
Rotated over, followed the head, the core, and straight into the Osakomi. Nicely executed. Turned her over like a baby.
And Kami Shiogatami is the also was at the
all
finish
the
off.
youngsters out there are going, well, I didn't realise it was such a strong holder. Well, it is, and that's why you learn your basic skills, because they come back and they become very useful at this world-class level.
The Terminator
well,
takes
that's
gold.
It. We'll have to just call her Sarah Connor Asahina.
There you go. Yep. Asahina it is. We've had 2 favourites come to the party. Rinne yesterday, Asahina today. No, he's playing something else. That is not the case.
I think he actually looked for the Terminator
There's
music.
Dad in the glasses with the blue shirt. Sorry, Loretta, go ahead.
Oh, yes. They were looking for the Terminator music for her to leave the field to play, but it wasn't powerful enough for her, I don't think. A very proud Dad, as we'd seen there, as Sheldon was pointing out quite nicely there.
Right, well, maybe we can have a word with Dad and just ask him how he feels. So we had a word with Teddy's dad yesterday.
Yes,
let's have a word with
just keep it all
Sarah's
in the family,
dad.
yes. And there we have those highlights of that very contest.
Right, we just want to congratulate you on a superb win. She's fought well all day. Tell us a little bit about your feelings for your daughter's win.
Yeah, first this morning I'm very upset, also very nervous, but the last time the World Championship at Hungary, so she lost the game at the final, so this is my very best thing for us, for Mr. Takeuchi, Sarah's head coach, also my wife and I, everybody is feeling delighted.
We saw some techniques today, nice waza from her, particularly with the ashi waza there in the final, but throughout the day she's been managing to catch everybody. Surikomi ashi or, yeah?
this is one of the secrets. So Mr.
It's no secret now. It's no secret. Everybody in the world saw it.
So Mr. Takeuchi said judo is most important thing is ashiwaza. It is especially for a big guy. So
Yes,
it is very hard to throw the opponent. So Mr. Takeuchi said you must do the ashiwaza all time. So so this is very effective for this tournament.
She executed the ashiwaza beautifully, and when it wasn't for Ippon, she moved. She was the only player, the only one of the women to make the transition from the tachiwaza to niwaza smoothly. She finished off, I think, with Yoko Shiogatami earlier, and then in the final with Kami Shiogatami. So really beautifully done from Asahina. We had no doubt that she would win.
No.
But you were nervous.
Yeah. So anyway, so she has to maintain her motivation until the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games. So coming to the next Tokyo Grand Slam, also the next year's World Championship. So she must do work hard and study hard, and many things she has to do.
Well, we know that she's got her studies coming up. I'm absolutely certain that the small amount of prize money that she's going to take away will help in her student bank account. We're delighted for her. She's one of the loveliest fighters on the circuit. Our congratulations to
thank you so much.
Asahina Sawa. Thanks so much
Thank
for
you so much.
joining us here.
Thank you so much.
Right, well, we've got the awarding ceremony coming up soon. Yeah, yes, okay. Let's say hello to Mr. Takeuchi. He's Sarah's coach. Right, and you're going to do the translation for us into that microphone. So tell us a little bit about Sarah's preparation for this event.
サラがここの大会に来るまでの準備がすごくよくできてたんじゃないかって、それに関しては。
そうですね。本当に怪我もなく順調に来たんじゃないかなと。
Mr. Takeuchi said, first of all, she has no injury during the training, so this is very best important things.
Are you happy with the ashiwaza that she displayed today?
やってくれてハッピーですかっていうことですけど、どうですか先生の。
いやもう本当に嬉しいですね。本当足技はもう柔道の基本だと思うし、崩しっていうのに関しては足技は大事です。
So he is very delightful, and he said that ashiwaza is one of the basement of the judo tachiwaza.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mr. Takeuchi, and thank you very much. Nice celebrations. We hope you'll have. Congratulations again.
Thank you so much.
Correct.
Yeah, they appeared nervous, the camp, but for me, she was she was odds-on favourite.
Definitely, right from the beginning. The way she started her performance throughout the day, she was very consistent and very positive in her approach towards that, and even in the final, it was like the icing on the cake.
Yeah,
she accelerated that a little bit more. She did what she needed to do. She came for what she wanted, and that was the gold medal here today.
Dicko and Savalkal's missing out, surprisingly.
Yes,
but who during the day we thought they'll be on the podium somewhere.
Well, Dicko, we always knew that it was going to be a bit of a challenge, and what she was going to gain from this, which I'm sure she has, is a lot of experience and exposure at such a high level of competition. And I think she's done well. She should be pleased with her performance. And what was quite obvious is for someone so young that youth, she lost out on the experience that the others had gained over the years that they have performed at this sort of level of tournament. She made some very silly errors, and mainly in the niwaza, where she left herself very vulnerable and got caught twice. So for me, a good account, someone to watch out for the future, and I think there's great prospects there for French judo with Dicko. And
Mbari is not that bad either. She's a useful little player.
Mbari, again, they've got some nice players coming through. So
two heavyweights to come to grips with.
Definitely.
Right, we've got the awarding ceremony for the women's open weight category. Out come the presentation party. And The medals are going to be presented by the president of the International Judo Federation, Mr. Marius Visa.
Medal for Cuba, Idalis Ortiz.
Bronze medals go first of all to Idalis Ortiz of Cuba, who's let her hair down now,
And for Tunisia, Michael Cheikhou.
and to Nihel Tekrohou of Tunisia, who came up with a somewhat surprising win against Stacey Saville-Cools. The silver medal goes to a terrifically spirited effort from Larissa Cherik, really. The gold medal goes to Asahina Sara of Japan. 21-year-old Japanese who's got her eye fixed firmly on one goal and one goal only, and that is Tokyo 2020.
And there's the checks being awarded to all the athletes.
Show us the money.
Now, it isn't about the money, it's what's round the neck that counts.
Well, I know from what Sarah's father was saying, she's got a medical student, so it's a long course and it's quite costly. So he said a few wins here and there, you know,
It's ideal.
it all helps.
He's away through medical school.
Well, the other thing is that she's not going to be able to complete medical school until she's finished her judo career. So it's a long-term thing, and you know she's going to need to be looked after and paid for, you know, during that period. So it all helps.
Definitely.
And now the national anthem of Japan. Well, for the first time since 2014, Asahina Sara gets to hear her national anthem at the World Championships, where she is on the top spot. She won the Junior World Championships back in 2014. She won the Cadet World Championships in 2011. She's won now the Senior World Open here in 2017. What's to say that come next year she won't win the plus 78 kilo category 100 senior plus 78 category gold medal.
Well, it's on the cards, isn't it? With performances like she's had today, and it's a steady but a very consistent progress up that ladder. And looking at those pictures there, as we can see, a very happy young lady.
It hurt her to lose out to Yu Song of China in the World Championships in Budapest a few months ago, that we commented on, you and I, and she hasn't you know, come to terms with that loss. It's only been a couple of months,
Yeah.
but this will help. You know, a World Open title, anthem, flag, the whole thing, 100,000 euros.
It softens the blow a little bit, doesn't it? And it gets her back focused on the bigger picture. And like you say, we've got Tokyo and it's coming fast and furious. The qualifications will start next year, and that's got to be the big goal for her. Taking that gold medal on home grounds in front of all those family and friends that will be there supporting her all the way. But we'll look forward to seeing her progress next year and those years building up to the Olympic Games. But for today, it's been an outstanding performance from this young lady, and it's been an absolute pleasure being here to watch it.